For this episode of In the Kitchen, we're going to be showing you how to make your very own coconut cream pie. First and foremost, we need a pie crust. To save time, I got a store-bought pie crust, which is perfectly acceptable, but if you want to make your own, there's instructions on the screen right now. The next thing we're going to do is make the filling for the pie. So you're going to want to prepare a double boiler, and in it combine 2/3 of a cup of sugar, half a cup of all-purpose flour, and half a teaspoon of salt. Shortly after, you're going to want to stir in 2 cups of milk and cook it for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Now we're going to transfer it to a new bowl in order to add our eggs. We just need the egg yolks, so you want to separate the egg whites from the egg yolks. I separate it by just tossing the egg yolk back and forth between the shells. Once you've added 2 of the egg yolks to the bowl, you're going to want to save the 2 egg whites for later. Grab a new bowl to put the egg whites of your 3rd egg. You could discard these egg whites afterwards. Stir the mixture until the yolks are completely combined. Now we can add our mixture back into the double boiler, along with 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Last but not least, we're going to add our coconut. That is 3/4 of a cup of shredded coconut. We are now done with our filling. Return it to our other bowl in order to cool. It's now time to make the meringue. Since it was my first time, let me tell you, I did not do a good job. But you can do better. Okay, first mistake. I used a blender to beat the eggs. That overbeat them way too much for meringue. So you're going to take the 2 egg whites that you reserved from earlier and put them in the blender or whatever bowl you're using to beat them. Okay, so this is the second thing I did wrong. Use eggs at room temperature. Do not use cold eggs. If you do use a blender, make sure you do not overbeat. Once blended, you're going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then blend it again. Again, do not overbeat. So next we're going to stir in 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon at a time. Okay, so this is most likely the 3rd part where I screwed up. Do not put in the sugar too fast. I may have not mixed it up well enough before adding my 2nd tablespoon. Okay, so here's the final mistake I made. I thought I was done. That doesn't look anything like meringue if you look it up right now. So, if you're making this at home, do not reference me. It should look like shaving cream. Now it's time to add everything to the pie and bake it. You're first going to add your coconut filling, and then your meringue. The last part is to add extra coconut shavings on top. Now you're ready to put it in the oven. Put it in the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to bake it until the coconut and, if you did it correctly, the meringue at the top browns. If you're struggling to make this happen, you can always put the oven on broil. Now it's time for the final part, the whipped cream. If you want to make your own whipped cream, there are instructions on screen now. If not, you can always use store-bought whipped cream, but remember, only put it on when you're ready to serve, otherwise it will just melt. Now the pie is complete. I can tell you that regardless of whether you messed up the meringue or not, it still tastes really good. That's all for this episode of In the Kitchen. Let's send it right back to the anchors.